In June of 2025, Elio was finally released after years of delays, rewrites, and continued development. To say its reception was polarizing was a bit of an understatement in the animation community. There was a sizable camp of people who almost maliciously wished for Pixar's downfall, immediately labeling the film as Pixar's worst release ever and an embarrassment to the Pixar filmography. It's no secret that Pixar has had a bit of an identity crisis relating to the films and the corporate direction of the company in recent years. Pete Docter recently announced a shift towards more generalized stories in the wake of Inside Out 2's success, which stirred controversy among fans who view that decision as a betrayal of the storytelling that Pixar was founded on. I've seen a lot of people make it seem like Elio is the nadir of Pixar, and having seen it numerous times, I think that Elio is a film that is fundamentally misunderstood by most animation fans. While many people seem to think that Elio is another tepid release emblematic of Pixar's eroding edge in cinema, I found Elio to be one of the few films in recent memory that has made me feel seen as someone with both ADHD and autism. The consensus surrounding Elio has caused the film to be branded as just another alien abduction film. But in reality, Elio is a poignant meditation on what it feels like to be neurodivergent, and the struggles that neurodivergent people, especially those on the autism spectrum, face when growing up. Before deconstructing the experience of Elio himself, I wanted to discuss some of the symbols in the film that can be interpreted through the lens of neurodivergence. There are numerous metaphors that are broadly applicable to the topic in the film's story, themes, and the quirks of Elio himself. Elio begins with him and his Aunt Olga at the Montes Space Museum shortly after the death of his parents. A depressed Elio hides beneath a table before running off into an unfinished exhibit about the Voyager spacecraft. Voyager is a space satellite launched by NASA in 1977 and contains a golden record with recordings and images of the Earth and human culture. The golden record is a time capsule of humanity and is meant to be intercepted by extraterrestrial life as Voyager makes its journey through deep space. The golden record is used to foreshadow Elio's abduction, and Voyager simultaneously symbolizes his feelings of isolation and need for escape. Voyager is a satellite alone in the depths of interstellar space, much like how Elio is a boy who feels deeply alone on Earth. Beyond object symbolism in Elio, neurodivergent symbolism stems from the alienation and misunderstanding that Elio feels from other people and how that is portrayed in the film. Oftentimes, neurodivergent people can feel alienated because of their confusion about the world and how it works. Compared to their peers, they struggle navigating the world, which contributes to a pervasive sense of difference and isolation. It's a common experience for neurodivergent people, and especially people with autism, to describe themselves as feeling alien or like everyone else is an alien. While Elio does not literally believe that he is an alien, his sense of alienation is so deeply exacerbated by his social and personal struggles that he believes he would be better off in space as an alien. Beyond Elio's feelings of alienation, the film also intentionally highlights that Elio is literally misunderstood by others through his use of Elioese.
No, I'm not learning Elioese.
Elioese is a constructed language developed by Elio that he uses throughout the film. Neurodivergent people can often feel like they are speaking another language than others due to their differences in recognizing and interpreting social cues, emotions, as well as how they understand the world. They often rely on more direct or literal forms of communication and may miss things like sarcasm or subtext unless it is explicitly specified by the speaker. Elioese is a brilliant metaphor for this experience as it illustrates the challenges Elio experiences in being misunderstood. This scene illustrates the lack of reciprocity in communication, emphasizing that in many instances it is always the responsibility of a neurodivergent person to speak the language of neurotypicals, but it is never the responsibility of neurotypicals to speak the language of someone who is neurodivergent. While Elio isn't explicitly stated to be neurodivergent in the film, many viewers have identified him as an autistic-coded character due to his social struggles, interests, and intense feelings of loneliness and alienation. Elio has an obsession with aliens in space, which can be interpreted as an autistic special interest. He is obsessed with space to the point of decorating his entire room in space-related paraphernalia, wears space-related clothing, doodles all over his bags with alien drawings, and even skips school in his quest to be abducted from Earth. His obsession for space consumes his every thought in a way that would be considered unusually intense for someone who is neurotypical. His emotions and experiences are very close to the experiences of those who are neurodivergent, namely loneliness, being misunderstood, and the desire to fit in. For many, these are hallmarks of how neurodivergence affects their everyday lives, and the film emphasizes Elio's struggles in this regard numerous times. Despite never directly admitting it, Elio is actually very sad about his inability to feel understood, make friends, and fit in. His loneliness is the catalyst for his obsession with space, with Elio believing that the only people who could understand him are other aliens. When Elio is cloned by Ooh in the middle of the film, clone Elio explicitly asks if he should
change anything or just stick with the low self-esteem and desperation to belong. What? I'm normal. Just be normal. No weird stuff, okay? Okay.
Elio awkwardly dismisses this and tells clone Elio that he is normal and to act normal, signaling Elio's own self-awareness to his differences. Many neurodivergent people are aware of their own incongruence with the world they inhabit. Many of them feel Elio's same desperation to belong, but don't know how to fit into a world that isn't built to accommodate them. Neurodivergent people try their best, but are oftentimes shunned or disliked by others because they are labeled as weird or too intense. The film establishes that Elio has social difficulties around making friends, a common experience among those who are neurodivergent.
They're coming
You
tonight.
need to make friends, or just a friend.
I don't care about friends. I need to meet aliens.
Why?
Many autistic and neurodivergent individuals may constantly question why others don't like them or wonder what they're doing wrong. This often manifests into self-doubt and low self-esteem, as evidenced by Elio's real emotions beneath the surface. Elio has a tendency to ignore social norms and miss social cues. This is evidenced by his very ostentatious way of dress in order to be abducted, as well as when Elio first meets Bryce on the beach for his ham radio club. Elio is so fixated on his obsession with using Bryce's equipment to make contact that he completely misses Bryce's tonal cue of excitement from their mutual interest.
How far have you called?
On Friday, I talked to Ohio.
Oh.
Elio doesn't make a friend until he meets Glorden.
You really want to know my name? Well, I really want to get down. I'm Glorden. No one's ever asked me my name before.
Elio confesses to Glorden that he's worried that he is the problem, and that is why he wanted to be abducted and leave Earth.
What if there's nothing about me to want? I thought Earth was the problem, but what if it's me?
This directly reflects the inner struggles that many neurodivergent people face. This sense of alienation can often lead to low self-esteem and makes them feel they have to change parts of themselves or present as someone inauthentic to fit in, be loved, or be accepted when their brain just works differently than other people. In the film's B-plot, Elio checks on his clone to convince Glorden of clone Elio's ability to fool his aunt. Elio sees Olga smiling and laughing, showing a happiness and harmony that is absent from their actual relationship. Elio is deeply hurt that clone Elio is the version of him finally understood by Olga rather than the real version of him, and he feels immense frustration from this. Though clone Elio is not a direct metaphor for masking, the dichotomy between Elio and his clone can be interpreted as the impact masking has on neurodivergent individuals. Elio's pain in seeing Olga prefer clone Elio mirrors how neurotypicals can prefer masking over the real personality of someone who is neurodivergent. His passion and quirks are gone, and he is finally behaving in a way that other people expect him to. The viewer is aware that both the character in the scene and the way they are behaving is not the real Elio, but the mask of Elio is the one that is accepted and celebrated by others. Clone Elio is everything that the real Elio is not, further cementing Elio's intense feelings of loneliness and alienation through self-victimhood. While we later find out that Olga's behavior was a ruse to fool clone Elio, it mirrors the internal conflict that neurodivergent people can experience when trying to connect with others who don't immediately accept them. Elio's friendship with Glorden can also be interpreted as a subtle metaphor for how neurodivergent people make friends. It's not uncommon for neurodivergent people to befriend other neurodivergent people due to them having similar interests, personalities, and communication styles. Because neurodivergent people can feel alien, Elio validates the struggle of connecting with others while creating a realistic metaphor in line with the experience of many with autism. Glorden and Elio are literal aliens to each other, but socially and emotionally are anything but.
Well, I like you. And you seem fine to me.
Elio's home life can be very reminiscent to those who are neurodivergent and have had behavioral problems. It realistically portrays what it's like to raise a neurodivergent child and creates a balanced portrayal that confronts the impact it has on both the child and the caregiver. Neurodivergent children don't always know how to articulate themselves and can have very big emotions that make it difficult for them to understand how they are feeling and what is going on internally. Things like regulation issues, overstimulation, defiance, and more can cause neurodivergent children to be typecast as the problem child. This emotional sensitivity can cause neurodivergent children to lash out, expressing their emotions through meltdowns or impulsivity. After Elio's radio is destroyed by Caleb in one of the first scenes of the film, Elio explodes and hits Caleb while spouting a flurry of space-related insults.
You subliminal, gaseous waste of mass. Activate supernova!
When arguing with Olga after she discusses boarding school with him, Elio becomes so caught up in his sadness and frustration that he impulsively shouts,
You're not my family!
This incendiary and impulsive reaction can oftentimes worsen the disconnect between neurodivergent children and their parents, as there is a fundamental difference in how they communicate, process, express, and regulate their emotions. While Elio is shown to be a handful for Olga, we understand that she is trying her best to raise Elio. She frequently reads and annotates parenting books as a way to understand why Elio is acting the way that he does, but because Elio feels so misunderstood by those around him, including Olga, he's unwilling to open up to his aunt, which furthers her desperation and frustration. Coupled with his belief that he is the reason Olga never became an astronaut, Elio internalizes Olga's worry and frustration as a resentment for his existence. Neurodivergent children can often feel like they're a burden because of their difficulties, which can push them even further away from their loved ones. After Elio was sent home when the Communiverse ambassadors discover he had been lying to them, he encounters Olga and clone Elio on the same beach where he tried to get abducted. He discovers that Olga has been desperately trying to contact the Communiverse to bring him home, and the two reconcile, with Olga remarking that
I missed you. I've missed everything about you.
But this isn't the life you wanted.
The only thing I want is you.
At the end of the film, Elio and Olga fly to the Communiverse after Glorden is accidentally sent to Earth. Lord Grygon destroys his carapace to save his son and expresses to Glorden that,
I may not always understand you, but I still love you.
parents of neurodivergent children don't always understand how or why their children act the way they do, but that doesn't mean that they love them any less. While Elio is a film about loneliness and alienation, Elio is also a film about love and acceptance. This is a reassuring message that reminds the viewer that they are loved and are capable of being loved, regardless of how little they may love themselves or think otherwise. This cuts through the film's central narrative surrounding loneliness and alienation as a counterpoint to those themes, confronting the reality of neurodivergence, but more importantly, concluding that neurodivergent people are capable of being understood and worthy of love. One of the biggest criticisms I've seen towards Elio has been his lack of thematic depth. Compared to recent Pixar releases like Turning Red and Luca, Elio is a much more direct and literal film than the other works in Pixar's filmography. While some of Pixar's greatest and most ambitious works have many layers to them that are intensely profound, I believe that Elio's themes surrounding neurodivergence are made stronger because of its more simplistic presentation. While I doubt this was Pixar's intention, Elio's more straightforward presentation allows for its themes and message to be more accessible and resonant to a neurodivergent audience specifically. Some people who are neurodivergent can have issues picking up on subtext, and Elio's more simplified approach to storytelling allows the film to be instantly accessible to all audiences in a way that can't be said about Pixar's other films. This is incredibly important because by telling instead of showing, it allows for neurodivergent people especially to connect with the film while giving context to experiences and emotions they may not fully be able to understand or articulate. Above all, Elio rejects alienation to further a message about the reality of being different, while maintaining optimism for a world and people who understand you, both of which can feel out of reach for neurodivergent people especially. Compared to a film like Soul or Ratatouille, Elio is not a film whose subject matter should be unraveled in the same way, nor does its subject matter necessitate more nuance in order to be comprehensive. Elio is not a film where you have to grow older to understand its themes in totality, and that is by design. Elio aims to normalize being different to the viewer while simultaneously acknowledging the pain that can come from it, which is exactly what helps neurodivergent people feel less alone when they're in a world full of aliens. Elio is not a perfect film, but Elio is a film that powerfully distills the experience of being neurodivergent and is a fantastic example of coded representation for a group of people who are often infantilized and ignored in contemporary media.
Elio's inclusion of alien symbolism to communicate loneliness and otherness is a textbook example of how many autistic individuals see themselves in their lived experience. It also brilliantly doubles as a metaphor for how neurodivergent people naturally gravitate towards other neurodivergent people. Neurodivergence isn't just marked by social or behavioral challenges, but also communicative ones. Elioise reminds the viewer that neurodivergent people often experience challenges with language and being understood, but does so in a way that recognizes part of this as a shortcoming from others. It also confronts Elio's incapacity to articulate his issues, creating a nuanced view of communication removed from pathology alone. The reality is that it's just more difficult for other people to understand him and for him to understand others. Because Elio can't normally fit in with his peers, the only way for him to be accepted by others is to mask his traits, which ultimately what Clone Elio represents when viewed through the lens of neurodivergence. Elio is often in situations that are very common for those who are neurodivergent or autistic. Elio himself is not labeled with any sort of condition, but his characterization becomes open to interpretation due to the nebulous presentation of neurodivergence itself, while also encompassing core criterion in a way that impacts his life in positive and negative ways. The film never faults Elio for who he is or says the way he acts is inherently wrong. It merely shows his struggles and conflict as a result of his behavior. Elio naturally portrays the challenges of raising a neurodivergent child without ever resorting to hatred from the caregiver. Autistic children may believe they're burdensome, but the film deliberately portrays this as a lack of understanding rather than a lack of love, care, or effort. Elio ultimately proves that pain is part of the neurodivergent experience, but that connection, love, and understanding are all valid experiences as well. Pixar never set out to create a film with incredible autistic representation, but what makes Elio succeed unlike any other film is just how specific Elio's personal experience is. The truth is, everyone has their own communiverse out there just waiting to find them. Autism and neurodivergence can make that communiverse harder to find and make people feel alone, but it's always important to remember the following.
You are unique, Elio of Earth, and unique can sometimes feel like alone. But you are not alone.